Okay, so ready to dig into this whole good girl thing and how it can, like, really mess with our careers?
Oh, absolutely.
Today we're going deep on why good girls don't get ahead.
Yeah,
And even before opening this book, I bet we both have memories of this, like starting way back.
for sure.
We don't.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. The author, Kate White, she uses this example of the game Chutes and Ladders. You
Okay.
know how the boys are always climbing those ladders for ambition, but girls are sweeping to be good.
Yeah,
It's kind of crazy how those early messages, they just stick with us.
totally. I was obsessed with the Berenstain Bears as a kid, and guess what Sister Bear was always dreaming of?
Let me think.
Yep, tea parties. But the thing is, this isn't just about kids stuff, right?
No.
Research actually shows that teachers treat boys and girls' mistakes differently.
Oh, interesting.
And that sets us up for these totally different expectations so long before we even hit the workplace.
Exactly. And that leads right into what this book is really getting at. The habits we're praised for as kids, being nice, avoiding conflict, following all the rules,
Right.
those don't always make us strong leaders.
Hmm.
It's almost like we're primed to be amazing managers, not those who shake things up at the very top.
Which is so frustrating
Hmm.
because are we always told to be reliable and work hard? I even lost a promotion once because I didn't want to rock the boat.
Hmm.
Looking back, I was way too worried about being liked
Yeah.
instead of like going after what I knew I deserved.
That's the classic good girl trap.
Ugh, it is.
The book's all about becoming a gutsy girl instead.
Okay.
But I'm curious, when you first heard that, did you think it meant being, like, aggressive?
Okay.
Like, we had to act like,
Well,
not ourselves.
totally. I get what you mean. But reading this, gutsy isn't about being a jerk.
Right.
It's about trusting your instincts, even when they go against what everyone else is doing. The book actually lays out 9 strategies for this, which is a lot to cover.
Oh, wow. So let's just focus on a couple that, like, really hit home for us, right?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay.
One that grabbed me right away was breaking the rules.
Okay.
Now, I'm someone who loves a good process, so this one made me raise an eyebrow at first.
Same here. But the book isn't saying to, like, throw out all the rules.
Right.
It's about knowing which ones are outdated or, like, holding you back from a bigger goal.
Exactly.
And the examples are wild. There's this TV reporter, Nancy Glass,
Yeah.
who just shows up at people's homes unannounced to get those exclusive interviews.
Wow, seriously.
Seriously.
And it works.
It works. She gets access no one else does because she's willing to bend those norms.
Huh.
Of course, not every rule should be broken, but the book gives a framework.
Okay.
You first, like, identify the rule, then analyze if it's actually necessary
Mm-hmm.
or just, tradition.
Yeah.
Think, what's the worst that could happen?
Mm.
And most importantly, will breaking it get you closer to your vision?
Oh, that's good advice. Right. Okay, so there's strategic rule breaking.
Uh-huh.
Got it.
Yeah.
But even with that,
Hmm.
I've noticed sometimes my gutsy moves, they kind of fizzle out
Yeah.
because they're not tied to anything bigger.
Mm.
Is that where the clear vision thing comes in?
Exactly. The book highlights Janet Reno, super gutsy as Attorney General,
Right.
but some of her actions lacked that, like, guiding vision,
I see.
so they were less effective. It's not enough to just do stuff.
Right.
We need that North Star.
Okay, that makes sense.
Right.
But honestly, that can be so overwhelming. Like, where do we even start with making that vision?
Yeah.
Should I be, like, mood boarding, making a 5-year plan?
The book, thankfully, is way more grounded than that.
Okay.
It suggests what they call a slim, fast plan,
Okay.
which is just focus on a few key actions, not everything at once.
Got it.
And it starts with knowing yourself, your strengths, yes, but also those weaknesses you might be hiding.
Ooh, that's tough,
Yeah.
but important.
It is. So are we talking like a formal SWOT analysis here?
Right.
Something more casual.
Yeah. How deep do we go?
It's more about honest reflection than a corporate jargon fest.
Okay.
Think about what energizes you
Mm.
versus what drains you,
Right.
where you get compliments,
Okay.
and also where you maybe procrastinate
Mm.
or ask for help.
Yeah.
That often points to areas to either develop or delegate.
Makes sense. But even knowing myself, I'm like the queen of overworking just to prove myself.
Yeah.
So how do we avoid being gutsy, but just like burning out? Is that where doing only what's essential fits in?
Precisely. This is where good girl habits can totally backfire.
Mm-hmm.
We take on everything to be helpful,
Right.
but end up spread too thin.
Oh, yeah.
The book has this double to-do list idea,
Okay.
one for daily tasks,
Right.
but another for those essential moves towards your vision.
Got it.
I actually use this, and it keeps me from getting lost in the weeds.
Okay, I'm liking this already.
Yeah.
So it's not just saying no to things.
Yeah.
It's saying yes to the right things.
Yes.
Even if it means someone else handles the smaller stuff. Delegation nation over here.
Exactly. And delegating well is another skill the book digs into.
Yeah.
Along with making decisions faster, good girls can overthink forever.
Oh, yeah.
But there's more to unpack here. Are you ready for the part that makes most of us squirm?
Oh, I think I know where this is going. The
Yeah.
whole not worrying about being liked
Yes.
thing. It's
Yeah.
like anti-good girl 101.
It is, and it's so freeing once you get it.
Hmm.
But before we jump into the how-tos, I'm curious for you personally. What's the biggest hang-up with letting go of that need for everyone to approve of you?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think for me, it's this fear that if I'm not universally liked, it means I'm doing something wrong. Like I'm not
Yeah.
being nice enough.
Yeah.
It's almost like I'm letting down that like good girl programming.
Yeah, that's relatable, and it's something the book tackles head on.
Okay.
It reminds us that not everyone will like us, especially as we become more successful.
Mm-hmm.
It can trigger envy or insecurity in others. But, and here's the key, that doesn't mean we're the problem.
Yeah.
It's their stuff to work through.
Wow. Okay. That's a perspective shift.
Right.
So how do we start putting this into practice without turning into, the office villain?
Yeah.
There's got to be a balance.
Oh, for sure. It's not about being unlikable.
Okay.
It's about recognizing that seeking approval all the time actually undermines our authority.
Mm.
The book gives some tactical advice.
All right.
First up, mastering the art of no.
Ooh, that's a tough one for us recovering good girls. I'm always afraid of, sounding rude or letting people down.
Yeah.
Any tips on how to say no gracefully but firmly?
The book suggests keeping it short and sweet,
Okay.
especially for requests that don't, align with your goals.
Right.
You could say, I appreciate you thinking of me, but I'm focused on your priority right now. It's
Right.
clear, it's polite, and it doesn't need a long-winded excuse.
That's a good formula to remember. But what about when no leads to, conflict?
Huh.
I think a lot of us good girls would rather walk on hot coals than deal with confrontation.
I hear you. It's definitely a muscle we need to build.
Huh?
The book talks about how avoiding conflict can actually make us look weak or indecisive.
Oh, interesting.
It doesn't mean picking fights, but rather addressing issues head on,
Okay.
using I statements to express your needs and feelings.
Got it.
For example, I understand you're frustrated, but I need you to specific action so I contain your goal.
Okay.
It's about owning your position without attacking the other person.
Okay, that makes sense. It's like, be direct but respectful. But this all assumes we already feel confident,
Yeah.
which, isn't always the case. Remember that tip about walking and talking like a winner?
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes I feel like I'm faking it till I make it.
Right.
But does that actually work?
It does. The book even talks about body language.
Okay.
Stand tall, make eye contact, speak with authority. It's not about arrogance. It's about projecting the confidence you want to feel. There's this anecdote about a speechwriter, Mary Speeds,
Okay.
and she was hired by this notoriously tough guy, William Paley.
Oh, wow.
Everyone told her to be super formal,
Uh-huh.
but she walked in, called him Bill, and it totally disarmed him.
Gutsy move.
Mm,
And it paid off.
it did.
I guess it's like if we act confident, eventually we start to believe it ourselves.
Exactly. And the more we practice these gutsy behaviors,
All right.
the more natural they become. But confidence alone isn't enough.
Mm.
We also need to be proactive about getting what we want. The book's very clear. Good girls wait for things to come to them. Gutsy girls ask for what they deserve.
Which is terrifying for some of us. I know I've downplayed my accomplishments.
Yeah.
Or hesitated to, negotiate for a better salary.
Right.
Any advice on how to get over that hurdle?
The book emphasizes preparation.
Okay.
Know your worth.
Mm-hmm.
Research comparable salaries. Practice your pitch. And remember, negotiation isn't about being greedy.
Right.
It's about recognizing your value and being willing to advocate for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
If you genuinely believe in your contributions, asking for a raise or promotion isn't demanding.
Yeah.
It's simply stating what you deserve.
Okay. That makes sense. It's about shifting our mindset
Yes.
from asking for a favor to demonstrating my value.
Exactly.
But what about when things go wrong? The book also talks about facing trouble head on.
Yeah.
Is that just about taking responsibility when we mess up?
It's more than that. It's about shifting from blaming ourselves or others to focusing on solutions. So instead of getting stuck in guilt or anger when a project fails,
Right.
the gutsy girl gathers information.
Okay.
What went wrong? What could be done differently? It's about turning setbacks into learning experiences. The book even suggests seeking feedback from others,
Oh, yeah.
which can be hard to hear but so valuable.
That's a good point. It's easy to get defensive.
Yeah.
But if we can view feedback as an opportunity to grow, it takes the sting out of it.
Right.
So we've talked about, like, external stuff.
Yeah.
But what about that internal good girl voice that tells us we're not good enough?
Oh, yeah.
Does the book address that?
It does. And this is where trusting our instincts comes in.
Okay.
So often we second guess ourselves,
Yeah.
overthink decisions, and end up paralyzed by indecision. The book reminds us that we all have this inner wisdom,
Okay.
a gut feeling that can guide us.
Yeah.
It's about learning to tune in to that voice,
Oh, great.
even when it goes against what everyone else is saying.
I like that it's about reclaiming that sense of, like, knowing that we often have as kids before we start doubting ourselves. But how do we know if it's truly our intuition speaking or just wishful thinking? Any tips on how to, like, discern between the two?
That's a great question. And the book acknowledges it's a skill that takes practice.
Right.
It suggests paying attention to your body. Does a decision feel expansive and energizing?
Okay.
Or does it make your stomach clench? Also, try journaling about decisions after the fact.
Interesting.
Did trusting your gut lead to good outcomes?
Hmm.
The more you reflect, the better you'll get at recognizing your intuition's voice.
Okay, so we're tuning into our inner wisdom. But what about when it tells us to take a risk? That's where the good girl in me throws up all kinds of red flags. How does the book approach risk-taking?
It's not about being reckless. The gutsy girl takes smart risks. The book outlines a process.
Okay.
Define your goal.
Mm-hmm.
Assess the potential downsides and the potential rewards.
Okay.
Do the benefits outweigh the risks?
Yeah.
Have a plan B if things go sideways. It's about calculated action, not blind leaps of faith.
And I think it's important to remember that not every risk will pay off.
It's true.
But as the book says, even our failures can be valuable learning experiences.
Exactly. It's all about how we frame it.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of seeing a setback as a personal defeat,
Right.
we can view it as data. What worked, what didn't, what can I adjust next time? That's the growth mindset the book encourages.
This is making me think about all the amazing women featured in the book who took those risks and achieved these incredible things, like Randy Bounds, the marketing executive known for her, like bold ideas.
Right.
Or Dean Kopp, the founder of Teach for America. They didn't play it safe, and it paid off in a huge way.
And their stories highlight a crucial point.
What's that?
These gutsy girl strategies, they're not just theories.
Right.
They're proven tools for success. But it's not about copying someone else's path.
No.
It's about using these principles to create your own unique journey.
Exactly. This book isn't a one-size-fits-all solution.
Yeah.
It's like a framework for self-discovery and empowerment.
For sure.
It's about recognizing our own strengths, facing our fears, and building the confidence to create the lives and careers we truly desire.
And it's about remembering that we're not alone in this.
Yeah.
There's a whole community of women out there who are also striving to break free from those good girl limitations and embrace their full potential.
That's so important. We need to support each other.
Yeah.
Share our experiences and celebrate each other's successes.
Absolutely.
Because, let's face it, navigating the workplace as a woman can be challenging.
It is.
No matter how gutsy we are.
It's true.
Absolutely. And I think one of the most valuable things about this book is that it gives us a framework for understanding those challenges and developing strategies for overcoming them. It's not about blaming or complaining.
No.
It's about taking ownership of our careers and creating the kind of work environment we want to be a part of.
Exactly. And it's about recognizing that we do have power, even if it doesn't always feel that way.
Right.
We have the power to choose how we show up, how we communicate, how we respond to setbacks.
Right.
And by embracing these gutsy girl principles, we can not only achieve our own goals, but also inspire other women to do the same.
So, to our listeners, as you wrap up this deep dive, we encourage you to take a moment to reflect what resonated with you most. What's one gutsy action you can take this week? Even if it's something small. Write it down.
Yeah.
Share it with a friend. And hold yourself accountable.
For sure. Because every step we take towards embracing our inner gutsy girl is a step towards creating a more equitable, fulfilling, and frankly, more badass world for women everywhere.
That's it for this deep dive. Thanks for joining us. We hope you leave feeling inspired, empowered, and ready to unleash your inner gutsy girl.
Absolutely, yeah. It's not about becoming, like, unlikable. It's about recognizing that seeking approval all the time, it can really undermine our authority.
Okay.
The book gives some tactical advice here.
All right, I'm listening.
First up, mastering the art of no.
Ooh, that's a tough one. I'm always afraid of, like, sounding rude or letting people down. Any tips on how to say no, gracefully but firmly?
The book suggests keeping it short and sweet, especially for requests that just don't align with your goals. Like, you could say something like, I appreciate you thinking of me, but I'm really focused on your priority right now.
Okay.
It's clear, polite, and you don't need some long-winded excuse.
That's a good formula.
Right.
Yeah. But what about when no leads to, like, actual conflict? I think a lot of us good girls would rather, I don't know, walk on hot coals than deal with confrontation.
I hear you. It's definitely a muscle we need to build.
For sure.
The book talks about how avoiding conflict can actually make us look weak or indecisive, you know.
Oh, interesting.
It doesn't mean you have to go picking fights.
Right.
But it does mean addressing issues head on.
Okay.
Maybe using I statements to express your needs and feelings.
I see.
Like, I understand you're frustrated, but I need you to use specific action so I can your goal.
Got it.
It's about owning your position without, like, attacking the other person.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Be direct but respectful. But this is all assuming we already feel confident, which, let's be real, isn't always the case.
Right.
Remember that tip about walking and talking like a winner?
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes I feel like I'm faking it till I make it.
Huh.
But does that actually work?
It does. The book talks about body language. Stand tall, make eye contact, speak with authority.
Okay.
It's not about being arrogant. It's about projecting the confidence you want to feel.
Right.
It's like there's this great anecdote about the speechwriter Mary Speeds.
Okay.
She's hired by this, like, notoriously tough guy, William Paley.
Wow.
Everyone told her to be super formal with him, but she walks in, calls him Bill, and it totally disarmed him.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And it worked.
It did.
I guess it's like if we act confident, eventually we actually start to believe it ourselves.
Exactly. And the more we practice these gutsy behaviors, the more natural they become. But confidence alone, it's not enough.
Right.
We also need to be proactive about getting what we want. The book is really clear on this. Good girls wait for things to come to them.
Yeah.
Gutsy girls ask for what they deserve.
Which is so scary for some of us.
Yeah.
I know I've definitely downplayed my accomplishments before.
Yeah.
Or hesitated to, you know, negotiate for a better salary.
Right, right.
Any advice on how to get over that?
Well, the book emphasizes preparation.
Okay.
You got to know your worth, research comparable salaries, practice your pitch. And remember, negotiation isn't about being greedy.
Right.
It's about recognizing your value and advocating for yourself. If you genuinely believe in your contributions, asking for a raise or promotion isn't demanding.
Yeah.
It's just stating what you deserve.
Okay, I like that. It's like shifting our mindset from asking a favor to demonstrating my value.
Exactly.
But what about when things go wrong? You know, the book talks about facing trouble head on.
Yeah.
Is that just about taking responsibility when we mess up?
It's more than that.
Okay.
It's about shifting from blaming ourselves or others and focusing on solutions.
I see.
So instead of getting stuck in the guilt or anger when, say, a project fails, the gutsy girl gathers information. What went wrong? What could we do differently? It's about turning those setbacks into learning experiences.
Right.
The book even suggests seeking feedback from others, which can be tough to hear, but it's so valuable.
Oh, for sure. It's so easy to get defensive.
Yeah.
But if we can view that feedback as an opportunity to actually grow, it takes the sting out of it.
Totally.
So we've talked about the, like, external stuff.
Yeah.
But what about that internal good girl voice that's always telling us we're not good enough? Does the book address that at all?
It does. And this is where trusting our instincts comes in.
Okay.
You know, so often we second guess ourselves, overthink decisions, and end up, like, totally paralyzed by indecision. The book reminds us that we all have this inner wisdom, a gut feeling that can guide us. Right. It's about learning to tune in to that voice, even when it goes against what, everyone else is saying.
I like that. It's about reclaiming that sense of knowing that we often have as kids before we start doubting ourselves.
Absolutely.
But how do we know if it's really our intuition speaking or just, wishful thinking? Any tips on how to tell the difference?
That's a great question. And the book acknowledges it's a skill that takes practice.
Right.
It suggests paying attention to your body.
Okay.
Does a decision feel expansive and energizing? Or does it, make your stomach clench up?
I see.
Also, try journaling about decisions after the fact.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Did trusting your gut lead to good outcomes? The more you reflect on it, the better you'll get at recognizing your intuition's voice.
Okay, so we're tuning into our inner wisdom, but what about when it tells us to take a risk? That's where the good girl in me just throws up all kinds of red flags.
Right.
How does the book approach risk-taking?
It's not about being reckless.
Okay.
The gutsy girl takes smart risks.
Okay, so there's a strategy.
There is. The book outlines a process. Define your goal. Assess the potential downsides and the potential rewards.
Mm-hmm.
Think about whether the benefits actually outweigh the risks.
Right.
And have a plan B if things go sideways. It's about calculated action, not those blind leaps of faith.
Right. And I think it's also important to remember that not every risk we take is going to work out.
Very true.
But as the book says, even our failures can be valuable learning experiences.
Exactly. It's all about how we frame it.
Okay.
Instead of seeing a setback as a personal defeat, we can choose to view it as data. What worked, what didn't, what can I adjust next time? That's the growth mindset the book is talking about.
I love that. This is making me think about all those incredible women featured in the book.
Oh, yeah.
Who took those risks and accomplished such amazing things. Like Wendy Bounds, marketing executive known for her bold ideas.
Right.
Or Dean Kopp, the founder of Teach for America. They didn't play it safe.
And it really paid off for them.
Yeah, in a huge way.
And their stories, I think, highlight a crucial point. These gutsy girl strategies, they're not just theories.
Right.
They're actually proven tools for success. But it's not about copying someone else's path.
No.
It's about using these principles to create your own unique journey.
Exactly. This book, it's not a one-size-fits-all solution.
It's not.
It's more like a framework, right?
Yeah.
For self-discovery and empowerment.
For sure.
It's about recognizing our own strengths, facing our fears, and building that confidence to create the lives and careers that we truly desire.
And it's about remembering we're not alone on this journey either.
That's so important.
There's a whole community of women out there who are, also trying to break free from those good girl limitations and embrace their full potential.
I love that. We need to support each other.
Yeah.
Share our experiences.
Absolutely.
And celebrate each other's successes.
100%.
Because let's be real, navigating the workplace as a woman can be so challenging.
It is.
No matter how gutsy we are.
So true.
As we've been talking, I've been jotting down some of these gutsy girl actions I want to try.
Oh, that's great.
But I'm realizing it's a process, right? Not a switch we just flip overnight.
Yeah, for sure.
Did the book talk about that at all? How to stay motivated even when it's hard to shed those old habits?
It did. And it highlighted something we often forget, celebrating those wins.
Oh, yeah.
It's easy to get so focused on the end goal.
Right.
But those little victories along the way, those really fuel our momentum.
They do.
Like, did you say no to a project that wasn't serving you?
Yeah.
High five. Did you ask a clarifying question in a meeting instead of staying silent? Girl, you are leveling up.
I love that. We need to be our own cheerleaders, especially when that inner critic starts, piping up.
Yes.
Which, let's be honest, happens to all of us.
It does.
Did the book have any tips for dealing with those moments of self-doubt?
Yeah, it emphasized self-compassion. Think about it. Would you talk to a friend the way you sometimes talk to yourself?
Oh, no way.
Probably not.
Right.
So when those negative thoughts creep in, try treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding you'd offer someone you care about.
That's a really good point. It's we need to be our own best friend, not our own worst enemy.
Right.
And speaking of friends, the book also talks about the importance of community, right? We don't have to go through this alone.
Absolutely. The book highlights how important it is to have a network of supportive women, colleagues, mentors, friends who just get it. Yeah. People you can bounce ideas off of, celebrate wins with,
and
just, turn to for advice when you're feeling stuck.
So it's like having a gutsy girl squad to cheer us on.
Exactly.
And keep us accountable.
Yeah.
And I think that's a huge takeaway for our listeners today.
Yeah.
Find your people, build those relationships, and support each other on this crazy journey.
100%. Because navigating the workplace as a woman, it can be challenging.
Oh, it is.
No matter how gutsy we are.
So true.
It's true.
Absolutely. And I think one of the best things about this book is that it gives us a framework for understanding those challenges.
Yeah.
And for developing strategies to overcome them.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about, like, blaming or complaining. It's about taking ownership of our careers.
Right.
And creating the work environment we want to be a part of.
Exactly. And it's recognizing that we do have power even when it doesn't feel like it.
Yeah, that's so important.
We have the power to choose how we show up, how we communicate, how we respond to those setbacks. And by embracing these gutsy girl principles, we can not only achieve our own goals, but inspire other women to do the same.
I love that.
So to all of you listening, as you wrap up this deep dive with us, take a moment to reflect.
Okay.
What really resonated with you? What's one gutsy action you can take this week, even if it's tiny? Write it down, tell a friend, hold yourself accountable.
Yes.
Because every step we take towards embracing our inner gutsy girl is a step towards a more equitable, more fulfilling, and frankly, just a more badass world for all women out there.
That's it for this deep dive. Thanks for joining us. We hope you leave feeling inspired, empowered, and ready to unleash your inner gutsy girl.